dedicated to eastern and southern Kentucky. This is WYMT Mountain News at 11.
Good evening, I'm Steve Hensley. Flood watches, warnings, and advisories continue in several areas as more rain is expected through Thursday. Several inches has already fallen in parts of the region. Before we show you some of the high water issues earlier today, let's check in with Chief Meteorologist Paige Noel with more on what to expect overnight. Paige?
Well, Steve, as we head into tonight, we are going to continue to see the rain, and that's really going to be the name of the game heading throughout most of the day tomorrow and even a little bit into your Thursday. We'll take you up, though, to radar first, where we are seeing some heavier downpours into parts of Bell County, a little bit into parts of Clay County, some heavier downpours over in Pike County, but we're not seeing that rain that we saw last night, where it was that widespread heavy downpour. So a little bit of a break, but we are going to continue to see heavy rainfall in some areas. Now, a lot of the flood warnings were canceled. However, we are going to hang on to a few of them into parts of Estill, Powell County, up into parts of Rowan County. Those now go until 11:30. I think they will expire at 11:30, so we should see most of those aerial flood warnings expire soon. But here are the rainfall totals over the past 48 hours. 3 to 4 inches. Somerset at 4.25. Jackson County got over 4. Close to 4 in Boonville. 3 in Rowan County, and almost 3.5 into Barberville. Now, those are some of our counties over into the western part of our viewing area. Now, the eastern part of our viewing area is going to get hit with some rain pretty hard tonight and into tomorrow. I'll have those details coming up in a little bit.
All right, thank you, Paige. Emergency crews across Kentucky have been busy all day dealing with high water problems. With more rain in the forecast, rescuers in Laurel County can only hope drivers steer clear of the floodwaters, but they are still ready for the worst. WYMT's Tommy Poole has more.
Like many in the mountains Tuesday, Laurel County saw a lot of this.
A lot of rain, a lot of floods popping up, flash floods,
leaving a path of destruction and problems all throughout the day.
There was landslides all over the county, trees down.
With high water over some back roads.
It happens every time it rains.
Stevens Towing and Campground Fire Department had to make a water rescue.
They go that route and they know the road. And it's an easy mistake to make, but when the water gets so high, you don't really realize the force of it.
Hearn says the depth of the water can be deceiving, and that is what gets people in trouble.
They think they can make it, and they end up getting halfway through and running off the edge of the road, or water starts coming in, or the motor sucks up water and ends up quitting on them.
15 inches of water, it can get up in your exhaust, and it could cause your motor to stall. And once your motor stalls, it causes your car to shut off, and that's where you get in trouble.
So, like first responders always say when flooding is possible, if you see this,
do not try to go through because it puts, your life in danger and our lives in danger on trying to get it out.
Turn around, don't drown. In Laurel County, Tommy Poole, WYMT Mountain News.
In Jackson County, that same heavy rain brought down trees, knocked out power, and submerged streets and some cars. Officials in the county said they had multiple water rescues. Many of the spots with high water were along Highway 421. One family in McKee had water surrounding their home and Mission and have had to move the reopening date on their store from tomorrow until next week.
There's no water has gotten into any of the church or our apartment or the attic. It's all been exterior. So it looks bad. The parking lot will probably be really muddy and have to be cleaned by the time it's all said and done.
Altogether, officials think they received roughly 7 or 8 inches of rain in parts of the county. Crews have been out and about assessing any damage. In central Kentucky, Madison County received around 5 inches of rain. Rescue crews there say several roads are flooded and they've been called to rescue drivers stuck in high water. Luckily, no injuries have been reported. Farther north, you can see some of the damage that's been done in Cincinnati, where the nearby Ohio River is currently around 43 feet. A flash flood warning is in effect for Hamilton County and parts of northern Kentucky until just after midnight. And even further north, people in central Michigan are dealing with some major flooding as well. Early Tuesday morning, folks in Midland and Gladwin counties were told to leave their homes as officials worried 2 dams near them would fail. And since then, one of the dams has broken, forcing around 10,000 people to leave their homes. And the National Weather Service says there are still flood warnings in place for multiple rivers. Well, the race to respond to the coronavirus pandemic is becoming a race to reopen the economy. But as the U.S. death toll climbs to nearly 92,000, some are urging caution. CBS's Michael George reports from New York.
From coast to coast, even the hardest hit states are restarting their economies and allowing more types of businesses and public spaces to reopen.
We can't stay inside forever.
Circles are now painted on the ground at this park in Brooklyn, New York. The goal is to get people to continue to practice social distancing.
No one's going to stay exactly in the circle. People are going to, I've just been watching people are getting up and running around.
Washington State had the country's first confirmed case of COVID-19 and the first death. Governor Jay Inslee is urging caution.
I know some people sort of say, well, we should start worrying about the second wave of the virus. And when I hear that, I think, well, when did the first wave pass? Because it is not.
Hi, baby.
Children returned to daycare centers in Texas on Tuesday, but even they are required to maintain a safe distance from one another.
We've had parents go, well, do kids really understand how to stay apart? And I said, sure. So we teach them for safe distance in here. Always make sure your friend is 3 steps in front of you.
Ohio has rescinded its statewide stay-at-home order, but Governor Mike DeWine says that shouldn't be seen as an all-clear sign.
We are now moving from orders to strong recommendations. This is a new phase in our battle against the virus.
In an effort to control the spread of coronavirus among the homeless, San Francisco has established 5 designated safe sleeping sites where tents can be erected. One of them is right next to City Hall. Michael George, CBS News, New York.
Here in Kentucky, Governor Andy Beshear struck a somber tone during his COVID-19 update this afternoon. He announced 164 new cases and 20 new deaths. That's the highest one-day death toll since the virus was first reported in the state. The Commonwealth now has 8,069 cases and 366 deaths. More than 2,800 people have recovered. Despite the governor's urging that everyone wear masks in public, signs of tension among some Kentuckians. A picture of this sign at Alvin's convenience store in Manchester went viral. It reads, "No face masks in this store. Lower your mask or go somewhere else. Stop listening to Beshear. He is an expletive." The sign drew both criticism and support from Facebook users. Today, the store posted to their Facebook page saying in part, quote, "We would never deny any customer access inside our store that is wearing a mask or not wearing a mask." It goes on to say, "We do not mean to offend anyone, but we will not apologize for our beliefs in our freedom to make our own decisions." During the weekend, Primary Care in Hazard made some big changes to its drive-through clinic. With the addition of 2 trailers, most patients will never have to step foot inside the clinic. WYMT's Emily Bennett has more on those changes.
For a couple months, tents have filled Primary Care's parking lot, giving patients the option to be seen in a drive-through.
The patients are appreciative of the efforts that are being made for us to be able to take care of them in this way.
But now they combined some of the tents and added parking areas under cover.
It's really helped as far as the overall patient care and streamlining the process.
2 trailers now sit in the middle of the tents, offering exam rooms outside the clinic.
It's where we're able to get the screenings done. We can actually provide the lab work, a full complement of lab work.
This allows Primary Care to do almost everything except x-rays and ultrasounds without patients stepping foot inside the clinic.
We can do minor procedures. We can actually give the injections. We're able to do some maybe eye exams, things like that in a more controlled environment.
The new setup also helping nurses and patients in bad weather.
Whether it's raining, whether it's snowing, whether the sun's out, we can still come out and see them and be able to kind of have that protection from the weather.
Giving Primary Care the ability to make their drive-through a long-term option. In Hazard, Emily Bennett, WYMT Mountain News.
Fugit did say primary care will be offering COVID-19 antibody testing in the future. They are currently doing research to find the most accurate test. The drive-thru is open every day. The hours are on our website, WYMT.com. Kentucky school districts are in the middle of readying plans for the next school year. The Kentucky Department of Education asked districts to prepare 3 different start times: early, on time, and late. All 3 present their different challenges, but for some school districts, they hope for better guidance on what they need to do for a number of reasons.
There's all kinds of bumps and barriers that we had to face. One being we want our students in our building because we know that we know when they're there, what they're doing. We know the education they're receiving. Our parents are concerned, as we have a whole lot of parents who are waiting to figure out what schedule we're going to run.
In a video call today, they were told to expect a little more guidance from public health officials next week. People who have needed a new driver's license or ID have not had many options during the past 2 months, but that changed today with the opening of the driver's license office at the State Transportation Cabinet building in Frankfort. WYMT's Phil Pendleton has more on the reopening and the changes people should be prepared for.
Jonathan Jones needed a new ID after his wallet was stolen.
It's almost been a week. Yeah, so it was hard to go anywhere or do anything.
With so many government offices closed, he did not have many options. But now people like him can go to the Kentucky Transportation Cabinet on Miro Street in Frankfort.
This was easy. It was pretty quick and painless and well established and well handled, I think. No problem.
The center is open for replacing lost or stolen IDs, people relocating to Kentucky from another state, or who need an ID for employment purposes.
So, example, you're a commercial driver and you need to get a commercial driver license. You could come in.
As in other reopenings, people will notice some changes.
One of the things is you'll notice our employees are all going to be wearing masks. We are also asking the public if they have a mask to wear one when they come in. We'll be doing on-site temperature checks.
There's also a lot of cleaning and wiping down areas after each customer leaves.
So we're really doing as much as we can to ensure the safety of anyone that comes into one of our offices.
Right now, IDs are only being issued at the Frankfort office, but the opening of other offices is expected to be announced soon. In Frankfort, Phil Pendleton, WYMT Mountain News.
Transportation officials say the Frankfort office is not for renewing expired licenses unless the license expired before March 18th. Any expirations after that date have been extended 90 days. Coming up on Mountain News at 11, 2 men were arrested in connection to a murder in Mingo County, West Virginia, but a third remains at large. How police plan to bring a close to one family's worst nightmare. And on Tuesday, ARH announced new visitation restrictions, or an easing up on restrictions. What you need to know before you plan to visit.
And the flash flooding threat continues, but how much more rain will we get? I'll have that answer coming up.